Firstly, thanks for having us on the show. I think it's a very gratifying moment to have Fund-3 at two levels. One, in the world of venture, there aren't that many funds that make it to Fund-3. Fund 1, Fund 2, Fund-3 really shows the evolution of team, evolution of strategy, and some performance as well. The second element that's very gratifying for us is the bet on deep tech. When we started out in 2017, deep tech as a word didn't exist. In fact, our documentation never spoke of deep tech. We just called it B2B disruptive technologies. And I think today the world has come some distance to recognize that India can build frontier tech or IP-led tech. And it's a good place to be. It's a good place to now have a fund that we can continue to support entrepreneurs building technologies of the future from India for the world. So very happy to be here.
Right. So let's get down to the brass tacks of what this 600 crore rupees will essentially entail. What are the numbers that we're working with? How many startups will you be investing in? All deep tech, I presume. If you could give me some of the key numerics surrounding Fund-3 for you.
So I think the most important point to remember is that we're a pre-seed fund. We're very 0 to 1 in thinking, DNA, and our style. And therefore, our investments would anchor ourselves by investing very early in companies, pre-product, pre-revenue all the time. Which means that the first check that we're putting out into a company is essentially to build the technology. We're taking technology risk in those investments. The average check size would be between rupees 6 and 10 crores. We'd own up to 15% of the company going in. We expect to make about 18 to 20 investments over a 4-year period. So we'll use this fund to invest between 2025 and 29. Expect to do about 18-20 companies.
18-20 companies, all right. And I know more or less deep tech is the one team that binds you together, but if you were to go down to specifics, what are the sub-teams, so to speak, that you're looking at in terms of these investments?
So I think our philosophical view for deep tech essentially is that these are businesses that have strong tech moats. There's a team of founders that know something most people don't know, most people don't agree with, and they then go out to build technology that's so fundamentally different that allows them to build very meaningful businesses. That's our definition of deep tech. And within that, we have two lenses to look at. We have lenses to look at what does India need, and we have lenses to look at what does India need and the rest of the world needs. So first principles, energy, space, advanced manufacturing, health, and AI. And today AI sort of cuts across all these different parameters. So these sort of continue to be the focus areas. And they've remained the same from 2018 all the way to where we are today. Of course, there are nuances, there are new increments, there are new subsectors that opened up. We didn't do semiconductor 10 years ago. We're doing that now. It took us 6 years to do our first health investment. So some of those things we'll also learn and keep evolving. Some of it also has to do with the market sort of maturing, being more ready. Maybe some of it's also got to do with geopolitics and how that's also playing out. That makes it even more pertinent for India to build some of these technologies ourselves.
Sounds good. Any startup names that I can get you to divulge in terms of companies that you're the most excited about in terms of the investment itself?
You mean from Fund-3 forward?
From Fund-3, yes.
Yeah, I think it's still early. We typically do about 4 or 5 companies a year. So the ones that I think are exciting today is, we are talking to a team of founders that are looking to build a navigation and communication stack ground up. Today, most of what we use, Uber, Swiggy, Rapido, all run on GPS, which doesn't belong to India. So we're looking at a team that's building on the opportunity of building navigation stack for India first. We're looking at another company that's looking to use AI on embedded systems, on how do you make sort of hardware turnaround cycles much faster using AI. So that's another use case that we're looking at. Third one we're looking at is not a dual-use company, it's a single-use company that's strengthening India's defense capabilities. We're very excited to possibly work with them as well.
No, very interesting, diverse themes, but surely with tech at the at front and center of the way they go about doing business. Let's step back a little, Vishesh, and talk about the startup ecosystem at this time and place that we find ourselves in. There's been so much of rumble happening in tech all the world over, specifically with regard to IT and ITES, especially with job cuts pretty much dominating scenes, even as AI seems to be growing in stature. What kind of opportunities do you feel do these occurrences have for India's startup ecosystem?
So I think that these things happen every 5 to 7 years, right? Every 5 to 7 years you see a big disruption that's coming that's more likely to put everybody's existence into threat or getting them to re-innovate. And I think AI is one such opportunity. Particularly the services companies have to sort of evolve themselves to being services 2.0 or try and do more with less. I think there'll be some interesting spin-off opportunities in the startup world. Either there'll be roll-up plays for someone to build the next consulting company or a next market research company, significantly leveraging AI. So those are clearly opportunities that are out there.
Right. So we talk about Services 2.0 as being a big opportunity that stares at the ecosystem in the face. Is it only all about AI, or do you feel there could be other layers that go about adding value to what is essentially going to be Services 2.0? What do you think the new avatar of services is going to be like, given the fact that this evolution is a very pressing need at this time and place? Where do you feel these opportunities can go about filling themselves in, Vishesh?
So I think if there's one thing that now is there that wasn't there a few years ago, it's definitely generative AI, right? And I think now trying to embed that in different workflows, different streams of how you've been delivering engineering services will drastically change. You will now be in a position to deliver a lot more with less. And I think that's essentially the motion the industry is going through.
Right. But it's interesting you're talking about Services 2.0 as being the need of the hour, even for a startup ecosystem, the startup ecosystem that we find ourselves in. Because all this while a lot of tech experts were talking about the pivot from services to product to actually go about offering clients value addition and thereby, stay afloat and perhaps even take on a growth trajectory from there on. But you don't necessarily see that to be the case, as opposed to evolving or, doing better in terms of where you presently are at in terms of a Services 2.0 company. Do you feel that ought to be the route forward?
I think the product place will, the dust has to settle a little bit. I think you've got a handful of SaaS companies that are now going through the pivot of how do you use generative AI in the field of building products. The barrier to building products has also come down significantly. So I think for product companies, it's not just about having the most feature-rich product, but it's about trying to make sure you get the right GTM motion in play. And I think that evolution is also happening in most of the SaaS companies or the SaaS plus AI companies that we're aware of.
Right. You are bullish, of course, about generative AI as being a key determinant in terms of these tech companies, how they manage to, keep growing from henceforth. What are some of the other themes you feel that startups can really piggyback on to do much better than they're doing right now and enter a sustainable growth phase? Gen AI, of course, yes. What else?
I think the big ones that we're really bullish on is, of course, energy, right? I think the per capita energy consumption is going up. The population is also going up. At the same time, there's a need to sort of go down the path of more sustainable sources of energy.